you're including some seismic shifts, I understand.
Yeah, so we've broken the tiers into two parts, playoff teams and non-playoff teams. We're going to start with the non-playoff teams, obviously. I'm going to go through this part very quickly. Can we show it, please? Listen, Jets, Jags, Bengals should have always stayed by themselves. They're the bottom. They'll never win again this year. When does hoops start? Those teams in those 6 cities, they're like, is it basketball season yet? Wait till next year. All those teams are like, man, injuries or bad luck, it killed us. And then that top row, those are 4 teams, sorry Dolphins, who at the end of the year are going to end up 1 game short. Everyone else is going to be a playoff team, but we can't show that yet. Because the committee has asked me, they delivered me this letter. And they've asked, I don't know if you can read it. It says to America from the committee. They've asked me to read it to you. And so I'm going to do that to the best of my ability. The committee would like to address the allegations of bribery and bullying that have plagued this week's rankings. The allegations of bribery, most notably, Lil Wayne allegedly offering a guest verse on his upcoming album, I Am Not a Human Being 3, in order to raise the Packers to the #1 spot, were thoroughly investigated and found to have no merit whatsoever. Unfortunately, the committee cannot say the same about the allegations of rampant bullying, intimidation, and threats upon committee members.
Oh, man.
What's going on
A
there?
roving cabal, which identified itself only as the Bills Mafia, has harassed this committee to the point to where we had to hold this week's meeting under the protection of retired Mossad agents. Despite the harassment, the committee is proud to say we were able to complete our charge and deliver this week's tiers. And to this alleged mafia, you were not the first, and you will not be the last. Back when the Bills Mafia was nothing but a local street gang, the committee was weathering threats from Raider fans who claimed to be from a black hole. We dealt with them the way we will deal with you, with honor, integrity, and courage. Signed, the committee. So, Bills Mafia,
could they just be right?
Buckle up. Your threats didn't work. Show the next tiers, please. 14 playoff teams revealed as such. Wild card weekend. Those teams are good teams. They're going to make the playoffs. They're not going to last past wild card weekend. Trust issues. Those 4 teams, you want to believe in them, but for one reason or another, you can't totally trust them. Super Bowl or bust. Those 3 football teams, if they come up short of the Super Bowl, no matter how good the season was otherwise, they are going to consider it a disappointment. #1 contender spot for the first time all year. The Green Bay Packers got there, again, without any Lil Wayne bribery. And, of course, the champs stay the champs. So that is this week's tiers. Those will be your 14 playoff teams, Brandon. The committee has prophesized. And I don't know what issue you could possibly have with this week's rankings. They seem perfect.
This is all a setup, buddy. And I'm getting wiser. I'm getting smarter. Tuesday night, when the committee sends out their tiers for us to review so we can prepare for today's show, right? The first thing I look at is, okay, what is that? Where's that one team that stands out where they're just misplaced and Nick totally and his committee totally got it wrong? And last night, the first thing that jumped out to me was the Buffalo Bills. And I was like, why does Nick have the Buffalo Bills so low? And I'm thinking about you trying to be inside of my head, knowing that I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills and try to petition them to move up. But then I said, okay, if I pick the Buffalo Bills, there's going to be this big old setup. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to actually compare the Buffalo Bills to the Cleveland Browns and somehow try to create this discussion around this quarterback and how these teams are alike. And then the numbers are going to show that the Cleveland Browns are better. So I'm not even going to buy into that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like this is a setup. So this is what I want to do. Okay, Mr. Committee, there's 3 teams on these tiers that I feel should be considered the scariest playoff matchups. And the 3 teams are, bam, here we go. Let's jump into it. We got the Bucks, we got the Colts, and we got the Bills. All right? So I'm not going to single out the Bills. I'm going to talk about these 3 teams. These are teams you don't want to see in the playoffs. You have the Bucks. Like, I always look for the one team that could be reminiscent of the 2005 Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, who's that team that's just hot, trending in the right direction come December? You have the Tampa Bay Bucks. Look, we know what we're going to get from that defensive side. They're elite. They play lights out. On the offensive side, if they can figure out their challenges, this could be a scary team. We know they have everything they need inside that locker room to get it done and make a nice run. The Colts. Oh, the Colts. Wild, how did you jump off the Colts? The Colts, man, they lose one game, and then all of a sudden, Mr. Kevin Wiles, you're like, oh, let me go to this team or that team. Let me jump on the Pittsburgh Steelers bandwagon. No, this is a good team. Their defense is elite. They can do everything. They play together. Their scheme makes sense. And then on the offensive side, Nick, you always say it. They're a quarterback away. Well, this quarterback, he's just been protecting the ball. If they do that, you don't want to see this team come postseason. And then the Buffalo Bills. What makes the Buffalo Bills so good? I said it yesterday. 2 guys on that roster, on that team, in that organization, they may not be there next year. You got Brian Daboll, who is lights out, just creative, dialing it up every week. You're seeing Josh Allen and his team ascending in the right direction. They can do it all. They move the ball better than every team in football outside of the Chiefs. They're good on offense. They're really good on offense. And then on the defensive side, they're getting healthy at the right time. So I truly believe you need to add a tier, and I would like for that tier to say the scariest playoff matchups, okay, and have these 3 teams sitting right there. Can we get that done?
I'll address that.
Committee.
Okay, so I'll address that very quickly. And I'm not trying to reveal any confidences here, but part of that roving cabal, Bills Mafia, may or may not have reached out to Brandon right before the tier segment started, trying to further intimidate him since they couldn't get to the committee. And, you know, while maybe he is going to be vulnerable to those threats, we won't be. If you had that graphic up again of the Bucks, the Colts, and the Bills, the reason they are on the wild card weekend tier is because of the 3 people in that graphic. Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Josh Allen, too old, too turnover prone, don't trust him. That's the answer. I understand people get mad at me.
Oh, my goodness.
Get mad at the committee. We'll see in a month.
Josh Allen is not too
We'll
old.
see in a month. No. I was going left to right on your television.
He said don't trust
screen.
him. He said he don't trust him.
I just don't.
The kid just wins.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. So that,
right,
listen,
I'm
the committee has thought about it long and hard. Wilds, drinking a Moscow Mule this morning. What's up, Wilds?
Well, good day, Miss Wolf, Mr. Marshall, and the gentleman from Kansas City.
It's better. and
Dour
better.
times in the Wild household as my New England Patriots have fallen far. It's caused me to take up grandfather's elixir a little more generously than usual. Dulls the spirit, but sharpens the wit. Alas, I do have a job to do. I have brought forth, stand by it, the following petition.
What's going on here?
Hereby, in this petition, I would like to
Does it
bring
too
up
well.
the Pirates of Tampa Bay up 1 notch for the reasons contained. Henceforth, Article 1,
Henceforth.
the #1 run defense in the entire National Football League. They are only allowing 81 meters per game. And yes, Dalvin Cook had 100 meters last game, but guess what? Dalvin Cook is not on every team. Article 2, the new balanced attack. Not only a great pair of shoes for grandfathers, but it's also the new offensive plan by Bruce Arians. This has been an issue. We know this, Nicholas. Here are the splits of passing versus running.
Oh, New Balance.
41-13, 48-18, 38 into a historic low 5. Well, against the Vikings, oh my goodness, 23 passes and 26 runs. Balance it out. It makes sense. And the final, Article 3, protect the GOAT. We know that Mr. Brady is not fantastic when pressured, however. He's only been sacked 16 times. It's the 4th fewest. He's only been pressured 16% of the time. That's the 5th least. Now, he has been hit almost 50 times, which puts him in the upper quartile of hits. If they need to keep him from being hit too much, luckily, his blood flows with gumption in championships. It won't be an issue. So for the...
Yeah, so listen, if they get a team in Wild Card Weekend that doesn't have a pass rush, you should expect them to win. Unfortunately for them, Wild Card Weekend, they are likely looking at their best case scenario is they move up to the 5 seed. That means they play Washington. Washington's got a lights-out pass rush. We know what the Rams pass rush looks like. We know what the Saints pass rush looks like. I guess if you're Tampa, you're hoping to play Seattle. But in that situation, even the most ardent Tom Brady supporters, Jenna, know you don't have the best quarterback on the field. And as far as coaching matchups go, you're going up against a coach not who has coached in a Super Bowl, but who has won a Super Bowl. So for all those reasons, I think it's a really tough spot for the Bucs because their biggest weakness is so many other teams' strengths as far as who they'd have to go up against. I agree with a lot of those points. I just don't think they can deal with a big pass rush.